Hi, my name is Avery Blansett. I'm 27 years old and I live in the lovely Memphis, Tennessee. I have been a stylist for almost 4 years now, and I absolutely love everything about this industry. And I have always kind of wanted to be a matrix educator. I first learned of matrix in hair school. That's what my cosmetology school used for product, color, and back bar. And I loved how simple it was to use, but I loved how versatile and inclusive it was for everything, all hair textures and every skill that I wanted to do behind the chair. And the first matrix products I ever used was the so-called Vivids. And if I would have never picked that up, I would never be the hairstylist that is presenting myself in front of you today. And I am so excited to share the actual first matrix method that I ever learned, which is a curly balayage. And that was back when there was actually just curl lightener dedicated to textured hair. And I just fell in love with the technique that I learned, and I cannot wait to show it for you today. I do a lot of lived-in color behind the chair and mostly on curly hair, and when all my curly girls ask for a balayage, they're typically wanting that sun-kissed look, so I always reach for my Matrix Light Master. I know this is a traditional lightener that you can put in foils, and you do get 8 levels of lift with this, but paired with 30 volume open air, and I do mix this 1-to-1 to get that clay consistency that I enjoy. I get really good lift with this without exposing too much warmth like some other clay lighteners do from other brands. And I feel like this in a foil lifts really good too, especially anytime I do a curly balayage, I like to see where the natural light is hitting their hair, and that way it can just look sun-kissed. So I like to just apply super heavy with my lightener at the consistency of clay. We'll apply that on there heavy, make sure everything is saturated super evenly. And then I like to just diffuse up. And I always like to tease my front pieces just for when I brush the tease out. It just makes everything look super blended. And I just like it to lay just like that, like the sun is hitting it directly. The bottom section right here, I try not to take the lightener up very far. You can see how just naturally right here, she's a lot lighter just because it is summer and the sun's been hitting it naturally. So I kind of follow that pattern. Again, I just concentrate most of my lightener at the very ends of her hair. Make sure you get that saturated. If you can still see the hair through the lightener, it's not going to produce that much lift. And then I'm going to feather it up the same way I did that front section, but just not taking it up as high. So you can see it's nice and saturated there. And if you need to add a little bit more, add a little bit more, because saturation is key for any balayage, but specifically curly balayages. Once I get the fundamental parts of like her face frame, I like to take this section at a diagonal right here and then pull it forward. And I try not to brush out the curls because I want to see exactly where those curls are falling. And I like to take that section and split it in half. You kind of just find what kind of flows naturally. With straight hair, with a balayage, you have to be a little bit more precise in your sectioning, but with a curly balayage, you just want to see where their natural curl pattern falls, and you'll know exactly where to highlight it. And luckily for all my curly girls, I like to use a balayage versus a foliage technique. And I like to use a clay lightener versus using a traditional lightener because I don't need to lift it more than 5 levels typically, and she's naturally pretty light, so her hair will lift to the perfect honey tone. The top section, I actually like to go in and make a chunky weave. Separate that, and then I like to tease just to diffuse it, make it a little bit softer. I want that top section to look sun-kissed, not falsely highlighted. Just make it look very natural when blended. And I do like to take this section just a little bit higher than I do the others, but just diffuse it up at the top.
Does diffuse do the same thing as tease?
Mm-hmm. Just makes it a lot softer. And for the top section, I'm gonna follow the same pattern as I did on her front 2 side sections. I'm gonna take a nice big weave. That way she can have some depth still in there, but I'm going to tease up again, just like I did in the front. On the back section, I'm gonna start a little bit lower with her tease. That way there's just some more diffusion back there. And I'm going to do another W-shaped blend up at the top. I'm not going to take this one as high as the ones that are on her like a front side sections, but I still am gonna take it higher than I did all of my other ones in the back section. So for styling today, I'm going to be using the A Curl Can Dream Scrunch and Go Divining Spray. I like this because it gives 48 hours of humidity protection. And I just spray that from mids to ends. This just kind of defines the curls. And I'll go ahead and scrunch. My model Cami has the most beautiful curls. And then I'm gonna be using the Curl Can Dream Hold Gel. I like how lightweight this is. It doesn't make the hair super stiff. I'll just go and work that into her hair. Most beautiful sun-kissed results.